Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Hello, and welcome back, guys, to another episode of the SaVeg podcast.
Yo, what up?
Oh, goddamn, Rose, I'm liking this bohemian chic style you've got going on here with some kind of headband motif.
Yeah, I just decided to put on a headband. I'm feeling the headband thing lately, although I don't know how I feel about it. It's mainly to cover my very unevenly dyed hair. So great. Yep.
Have you had a bit of a disaster in the dyeing
department? Not really.
Rose?
It's just fading, and I haven't gotten around to retouching it up. So we're gonna have to deal with the bohemian headband look, as Daniel just pointed out.
Well, that was like my first thing that I noticed when we got into the Skype call. I was like, "Oh, Rose is very
supporting the
bohemian
headband
chic today."
Oh, I like the way that you spun it, Daniel. I just like to say I look like a mess, but
Well, I could have gone with that, but I just
it was a nicer way of saying I look like a mess.
God damn. Well, to be honest, I also like my hair right now.
Daniel, you do know salons are open, right? You do know that.
I know.
Okay. So there's no excuse for this.
Yeah, there's no excuse now. I mean, I think they've been open for a week too, haven't they?
Yeah. What happened, Daniel? So busy with such social activities, hey?
Like no social activities. So I don't know what my excuse is actually. I don't know
what
why
is your
I haven't
excuse,
been to
Daniel?
the barbershop.
Yeah.
And there's one by my house too. So I mean, I'm going to go probably tomorrow.
Right. I think one reason is that you're not really seeing anybody. So there's no point of putting effort in. But you know what? You're seeing our audience. So
This is it. And I don't know about you, but like I've become like, and I don't know if this is like a trend. I don't know if everyone's experiencing this right now, but like, the last couple of weeks I've been feeling some kind of way with this pandemic.
I've been feeling some kind of way. We've been feeling some kind of way.
Oh, God damn. I feel like we're just getting to that point where everyone's like getting fed up, being like, okay, they're getting that COVID fatigue and that concept of like Groundhog Day.
Yes.
Like as soon as we started talking about that, I wish I never mentioned it. I wish I didn't even think about it.
Because now every morning you're like, good morning, it's Groundhog Day.
Exactly. There's like have you seen the movie?
That's the whole point, right? It's the movie.
Yeah.
Because, let's talk about Groundhog Day for a second. First of all, isn't it coming up?
That's a very good question. You know what? I'm on my computer, so I can Google
and it's like
this.
a very like North American thing, right? Because like I don't think anyone outside of North America, do they know what Groundhog Day is? Do I even know what Groundhog Day is? So I think, this is kind of my understanding, is supposedly, is this like an urban myth as well? Like it's not an actual thing.
It's like yes. Okay. It's like a urban, not urban. It's like a
legend.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
So the groundhog comes up. This is the legend, right? Okay. So the groundhog comes up out of his little hole or whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh shit, it's still cold. And then he goes back in. So if he goes back in, that means that it's too cold still and that it's still winter. And if he comes out, is it spring? Is that the whole thing?
The interesting thing here, I didn't know this. Apparently, today is Groundhog Day.
Oh, what?
Because it's
you
February 2nd, right?
It's not just like Groundhog Day over and over again? Like today is actually Groundhog Day?
Yeah. No, wait. Is it the 1st or the 2nd of February today? The 2nd, right?
Oh, Daniel, today is the 1st. So it would be tomorrow.
Tomorrow. So
that's so funny.
I will read you the tradition.
Okay, read me the tradition and tell me if I got it completely wrong.
Kind of right.
Okay.
So and you're right, it's a popular North American tradition in the US and Canada. And it derives from the Pennsylvania Dutch superstition that if a groundhog emerging from its burrow on this day sees its shadow due to clear weather, it will retreat to its den and winter will persist for 6 more weeks. But if it does not see its shadow because of cloudiness, spring will arrive early.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is just like, just a folklore type of situation. Like it doesn't actually happen, right? Okay.
Exactly. It's kind of like one of those things where it's like, when they say like the sailors see a certain color of the sky, it means it's going to be, the next day it's going to rain or something, It's one of those things. And I think that's spawned. I don't know how then Groundhog Day. Because of that, I think it was because of that movie.
Yeah. I think the whole reference of Groundhog Day actually being like like every day is repeating itself. That just comes from the movie, because the whole point of the movie, for those of you guys that haven't seen it, is like basically this guy. He's like a journalist. He's like a announcer, TV anchor, and he goes to this like tiny town to report on Groundhog Day, and then. Basically, the premise is that every day he wakes up and he's like reliving that same day over and over again. Yeah. And basically, that's what we're experiencing currently.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. He's like stuck in like a time warp where, every day is Groundhog Day. And that, I think it's interesting when this stuff happens, because that film has kind of like spawned a
new kind of Groundhog Day meaning.
Exactly. Like there's almost like cult following and a new term. And it's something that we use in everyday language now from that film, I feel like.
Right.
To say that, if you're feeling like you're repeating stuff over and over and over again, you'll say, oh, it's like Groundhog Day.
Yeah. So initially when you said that though, I was like, because I was also thinking, I was like, I wonder if that kind of saying, the way that we used it now, I wonder if that came from the film or if that was the original kind of intent of what Groundhog Day means. But I think that it's actually from the film, because the original meaning of Groundhog Day doesn't sound like it means it repeats itself.
It's like if it has to do with weather. The groundhog comes up, sees its shadow, goes back into its thing. Okay, it's 6 more weeks of winter. But I mean, also we're in Canada, so February 2nd, usually 6 more weeks of winter.
Excuse me.
Anyway.
February 2nd is like peak winter. Are you joking?
Exactly. Ain't no groundhogs coming out of their holes on February 2nd. Let's be honest here.
Deep.
They be doing that hibernation.
They be hibernating.
No, God. They be hibernating with them bears.
Although today, Daniel, has been an insanely warm day.
What is going on? Honestly,
the world's coming to an end, but we're going to enjoy every minute of it because it's been warm.
I know. It's a double-edged sword, because obviously I've been like super happy about, I've like just come back to Canada and everyone's like, oh, brace yourself for winter. Winter's coming, And honestly, it's been so like probably the mildest winter I've even ever imagined.
Right. Like, it's been actually really nice. It's been a blessing this year. Let's be honest. This year, it's been a blessing because of the fact that it's COVID. I mean, a part of me still is concerned the world's coming to an end and global warming is going to hit us all next year. But this year, it's been a blessing.
Exactly. Because imagine if we were going through all of this stuff.
I know.
And it was minus 30 outside.
Oh my God. Like, honestly, I would cry. Well, I'm concerned that we are like, I don't know what's happening. Like, are we just delaying winter or are we shortening winter? That's the good question. That's the question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's just it. Is it now because of global warming that, because global warming in a concept of itself is, yes, okay, the overall temperature of the world is getting warmer, but it's also shifting world patterns, right? So it could be that, our winter, you're right, maybe it's pushed out now. Maybe actually what we're experiencing now was before November, December time, and now it's being pushed out here, and actually we're going to get the minus 30 in March.
Oh, like, God.
We just don't know what's going to happen. I mean, I would hope that's not the case, but...
Well, either way, we're fucked.
Oh, God.
But today was nice. It was lovely. It was sunny. I went for a run. I went for a walk. It was fantastic.
God damn, you be doing some exercise.
I got to, like we talked about, it be a funk recently. We've been going through a funk. So today I was like, you know what? I need to do my self-care activities. I need to feel good because I don't want to feel so like just... I'm not going to say depressed, but like sad or just down.
I echo that though. Yeah. Like, and I think, and just to our like, our audience and stuff as well. One of the things you can try to do, or what I think me and Rose are both trying to do right now, is we're getting in these funks and just trying to like break out of them by, doing things that we like going for walks, doing fitness. Like I did a workout just today.
Ooh, how was it, Daniel? The one that I sent you.
It was good. It was intense.
Which one did you do? Was it one of the first ones or was it the one that I sent you?
It was that playlist of that girl that does like, so many different
okay, you followed
HIIT training. Yeah. So I did the first one. Didn't complete the whole video, to be honest.
Daniel, how long was it?
I like died. It was 30 something minutes and I think I did like 22 and then I was like, I did a good amount and I thought to myself, again, this is another thing. So guys, as you know, I've been quite lazy with my fitness. Other than doing like walking challenges. Well, maybe people don't. I have been, by the way. But with this like walking challenge, I was doing other forms of fitness, but I haven't done that much like HIIT training like I used to. And when I did this 20, like,
by the way, that's not HIIT training.
Anyways,
no, I'm going to go on a rant after, but you go first.
Okay. But I could feel that like my legs were already getting a little bit sore and stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to my body. I don't want to like pull a muscle or do something right away when I'm starting to work out. So I'm going to gradually increase it. So like tomorrow I said, I want to do the same workout, but I'm going to try to do the full 30 minutes if I can, or just kind of listen to my body. But I'm happy I did something today and I feel better for doing it.
Yeah, totally. Know? And you should maybe like, it's better to do like how do I say, like the less intense version of the workouts, like less jumping, because sometimes that's what I do. If there's like so much jumping and I'm like, I'm not used to it, then I'll like do the like, beginner form of the workout. But I was gonna go on a little rant. Okay. One thing that I appreciate all of these home workouts and all these like fitness influencers that have probably skyrocketed during this time.
Let's be honest, their channels are exploding.
Yeah, no kidding. Like they are just, making bank. You know what? They should. They're working very hard, making these workouts. But the one thing that bugs me is that every single one of these workouts, they call themselves HIIT. So for those of you guys that don't know what HIIT is, it's high intensity interval training. Oh, okay. Right, yeah. So that's what it stands for. And it's become this like buzzword now. And it almost doesn't mean anything anymore because people are just throwing this around as if all the workouts out there are HIIT workouts, and they are not. So HIIT workouts, just to clarify, okay? Just to clarify, HIIT workouts are supposed to be intervals of very high intensity, like literal sprinting when your heart rate is like bursting. Okay. Yeah. So like 30 seconds of sprinting, let's say. And then you do maybe like a minute of like lower intensity. Either you like walk or you jog very slowly. And literally every single workout, they call it HIIT. And I'm like, this is not HIIT. You cannot call every workout HIIT. I know it's a buzzword. I know everyone's searching for HIIT, but like, it's like, now it doesn't mean anything. And now no one is going to understand what HIIT is. It annoys me because I'll be like, okay, I'll search because maybe I actually want to do like a HIIT workout. HIIT training. Okay. And then I'll search like a HIIT workout, and none of them are actually HIIT workouts. They're just like, oh, let's do some crunches. No,
this is kind of this.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was going to say, if there are random ab exercises in the middle of your HIIT workout, it's probably not a HIIT workout.
But I think this is the problem with like YouTube and some of these other things is like, I don't know about you, but like half the time when I'm searching things, because people put in their own like buzzwords and stuff for their like search algorithms and everything, it will pull up anything. Like, so you could literally, and there is no like I feel like there's limited policing and checking to make sure, okay, well, is what you're saying on there actually the right thing, or you know what I mean? Like, so there's a lot of, I can see why that would be frustrating though, especially like if you wanting, like you said, you want to do a HIIT training session and all you're finding is goddamn ab workouts, which ain't be in the HIIT format, you know?
Well, I've made peace with the fact that basically I'm never going to find a HIIT workout on YouTube. It's just all going to be, those workouts, guys, are called circuit training. That's circuit training. And I'm not even a fucking fitness person. Okay. It's circuit training when you do like multiple workouts, and it's like, you still keep your heart rate high, but it's not a HIIT workout. Okay. I'm just going to tell you right now, it annoys the shit out of me. And then another thing that fitness people do. And again, I understand the sentiment because obviously you want lots of views. And if people are searching HIIT, you want that, that search, to come up. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, if my recipe is not a 10-minute recipe, I'm not going to put 10-minute recipe on my YouTube title. Anyway, another thing that bugs me, guys, is like these fitness people. Okay. I'm not naming one in particular, but just like in general, these fitness people, they know for a fact that you can't do like spot training. Like, for example, you can't spot reduced. I mean, you can spot train, but you cannot spot reduce. That means just because no matter how many, sit-ups you do or crunches you do, your stomach is not going to shrink because you're doing sit-ups and crunches. You have to eat at a caloric deficit. You have to work, you have to lose fat overall, right? And then wherever you hold your fat the most, that's probably where it's going to, lose. You can't like control where the fat goes, right?
Yeah. Well, it's because everybody's body is different as well, right?
Exactly.
Like people are going to deposit fat in certain areas, right? Like some people, they deposit fat in their butts, while other people...
Well, that be you, Daniel. Not everyone be so lucky.
No, that's not mine is around my spare tire that I'm trying to lose.
Oh, well, it goes equally into your ass. But anyways, my issue is that these people, they will put it in their they will title their video like how to get a workout for flat abs, workout to slimmer thighs. And I'm like, you literally know that is not what it is. Like you can't. And what annoys me is that perpetuates this idea further that you can work out those body parts and somehow lose the fat on those body parts. Oh, anyways,
there's a lot of the thing that's difficult, and I find it this space actually, speaking about fitness and everything else, I find it as someone that's not I'm not into I haven't studied fitness. I don't know that much about fitness. I look at fitness as I think it's good. It makes me feel good. Yeah. Sometimes I do call it a necessary evil because I just I get to the gym and I'm just like, oh God. But I do enjoy it when I go. But again, I'm not a fitness guru by any means. I don't know any of this stuff. And I do find it quite hard to sometimes navigate through all of that, through all the noise, through all this stuff. I'm like, oh, is this an effective workout that I'm doing? I'm not sure. I think overall, if you are even today, I did the 22 minutes and I was kicking myself. It's oh, should I have done the full thing? But I just was trying to, little things like this. I think as long as you are doing some form of exercise and you're trying to be mindful about it, I think that's a positive thing. But I do think, it is hard. There's so many now fitness influencers and there's just so much noise. You know what I mean? So it is hard. And when you're right, when people are terming things certain, this is HIIT training, this is this, when it's actually not, there's so much misinformation in that space. So,
yes.
And if you do these crunches, you're going to get a flat stomach. And it's well, unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. You could do as many crunches as you want on your floor. And, if you're not mixing that up with, like you said, calorie deficit or, doing extensive amounts of cardio and working other ways, you're never going to get a flat stomach,
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why it annoys me. Because, at
crazy.
least I know at this point, at my age, I know, that it's bullshit, spot reduction, that's bullshit. But it's a lot of young people are going to watch these videos and be like, oh, if I do this, I'm going to get smaller legs. I'm like, no, you're not. So it's and then they'll be like, oh, well, I need to still put it in the search, in the title because people are searching this stuff. I'm like, it doesn't fucking matter if people are searching for this stuff. People are searching for a lot of random shit. You're not gonna put that random shit in your goddamn title. Just fucking promote the biggest nonsense ever, something that's been disputed multiple times. Not disputed. What is that the right word? Disputed? Anyway.
It's been disproven.
Disproven. Yes. Debunked. Yeah. Yes.
Debunked.
So it's stop. You're supposed to be a fitness guru, okay? You're supposed to know better. And apparently I know better than you do. Anyways.
Goddamn,
that's
Roses.
My rant.
You went on quite the little rant there, Rose. You'd be getting angry as all hell.
It annoys me when I'm doing a HIIT workout and then they're like, let's do abs for the next 10 minutes. I'm like, fuck my life. Because, okay, I hate ab workouts. Just putting that out there.
I do too. They're so hard.
And I feel they're a waste of my time because of what we just discussed. I mean, they're okay. Depends on the ab workout. Planks are very good.
Yeah, I think the thing is too, I've really gotten into lately, and again, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I really because I'm at home and I have a few weights, but not that many, really getting into body weight workouts.
Yes.
Those planks, I like doing, I do quite a lot of squats and lunges and things like that. And I'm just getting
we ain't got no other options, Daniel. God damn.
I know. I do. This is another thing. I miss... and I know I said I had a love-hate relationship with the gym and that I was I still do. But I actually do miss one of the things I used to do in London, which I think I've talked about on the podcast before, but they have a lot of kind of Barry's boot camp style fitness studios there. And I wouldn't do them all the time because they were quite expensive. It would be I would do it maybe once or maybe twice a week.
Oh, just that's pretty good.
Yeah, just to pepper in with my other workouts, right? So maybe on a Friday I'd go do it, and the workouts honestly were so good because I feel were just so intense.
Yeah, they're pretty intense.
Really pushed me. Yeah, so.
And then all the people that go to those workouts are hot as shit.
Oh God, yeah, that's half the reason you go.
That's another thing. I don't know if did you actually go to Barry's boot camp or did you go to
So I did go to Barry's a few times with one of the girls in my office was obsessed with Barry's, so I used to go with her quite a lot. But there was also a studio, it was called Sweat It, and it was literally right under my office. So I could literally take the elevator down and go around the building and just be there. So
and it's the same concept.
Yeah, exactly.
Let
Pretty
me
much
guess. The people
identical.
at Sweat It were not as hot as Barry's boot camp.
No, there was definitely some hotties as well.
Yeah. Okay. Because I feel like half the appeal of Barry's boot camp is like, oh, look at all these hot people. They're doing this workout. That means if you come to these workouts, you're also a hot person.
Do you think that they have paid actors in those classes?
No,
you know,
I just feel like it's one of those things where it's kind of like I don't want to say it's a cult, but it's like it has that kind of culty vibe. You know, it's not a cult, guys. Okay, like let's not go overboard,
Well,
but it has that kind of vibe of like, you know, the people that do it are like super into it. And I'm like, okay, like I get it. It's a good workout, but it's also not like magic. Like,
yeah. And some of the people that were doing it, honestly, even from my office for the Sweat It one, because they had like packages and stuff, there were people literally going to that studio like 4 times a week.
Oh my God.
And I was like,
and it's like expensive.
It's so expensive. Like that's why I had a class pass and I was like trying to be all like budget conscious. Cause like it was like, I think even on sale, it was like £20 a class. And I was like, it was just like
ridiculous.
You can't, exactly. When a gym membership is like maybe 40, 50 pounds and then you have like one class is 20, it's like, you know.
Yeah. These boutique gyms, man. There's so many people that will pay so much money for these gyms. It's like CrossFit. Like CrossFit's like so expensive.
CrossFit's like crazy expensive.
Which is another kind of culty kind of thing, you know?
I know. So many people like get so into it. Not like knocking CrossFit.
Yeah,
there's always these like memes and jokes about it. Yeah. And you know how everyone's like always like ripping at taking the piss out of the vegans, being like, oh, how to know if someone's vegan? They'll tell you.
Yeah.
And then they do the same thing with CrossFitters. And then there was this one meme that's like, if someone's vegan and a CrossFitter, what are they going to tell you about first?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, what's going to be the first thing that they're going to tell you?
It's so funny.
So good.
Yeah. So yeah. Wow. We just talked about random shit for 24 minutes.
Well, and one other thing I was going to say about like the berries and these kind of fitness
Let's keep ranting, Daniel. We could probably fill an entire hour with this rant.
I know, but we do have to talk about the story.
We will talk about the story. Don't worry.
Oh God, it's just so good. So good and so bad in so many ways, guys. We'll get into that. But also there's a lot of like guys that go to these classes and they like just, you know, work out without their shirt on. And I'm just like, good for you. I would never.
I was going to ask you, why don't you work out with your shirt off?
Because you've seen my body.
Oh, come on, Daniel. You have a nice body. Stop it.
I have like it's okay, but it's not, you know.
So do you think they purposely go just to show off their bod?
Well, I don't know. Is it necessary to like work out without your shirt on? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
would they do that at the actual gym? Probably not. See, that's what I mean. They're going there to do like a little modeling, you know, session, be a little eye candy. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. The guys and the girls, honestly, I go in there and like
there's a lot of hot
I consider
people.
myself so many, and I'm like, I consider myself relatively attractive, but if I ever want to feel really shitty about myself, I go to Barry's boot camp, and I'm like, yep. I'm like, you know, definitely far away from
Oh my
all
God,
of
me
these
too.
people.
When I went to Barry's, like, I think I went to Barry's like twice. And then I remember just going in and being like, why is everyone like a celebrity? Like, why is everyone looking like they just walked out of like Beverly Hills?
A magazine.
Fucking, yeah. And I'm just like, okay, I have never felt so frumpy in my life.
Oh God.
I'm just like, why does everybody have a six pack? Like, fuck.
Because they are going 7 times a week to those studios.
Do you think that's why? Again, like, what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Like, were they hot first? So that's why they go there to show off their bod and feel even more hot, you know? Or did they become hot because of the workouts? We'll never know.
Yeah. God
damn. I don't know. And also Roses. Another thing with those, like there's another, have you heard of barbell? Have you heard of bar, like workouts bar?
No.
Oh my God.
I don't think so.
So bar is like, so it's BARRE, and it's like this, like, it's like kind of like a workout that's been inspired by ballet, I think. Okay. And so it's like a kind of unique, as in they make you do a lot of like small moves, but it's like pain. It's like pure pain. Anyways, there's this studio. It was, I think they had some in Calgary and also in Vancouver. And I'm not sure if they've shut down because of the pandemic. Again, I'm not sure. Damn. But I think they've had multiple studios. And I remember, like whenever I'd go to these barbell classes, I was like, is this some kind of like Lululemon photo shoot? Because like every single girl in there is like they're just like dressed like they are doing some kind of fitness photo shoot. Like somebody is going to be filming you. I'm like, and then I like when I first started going, I was just wearing like my shitty, like I had like the shittiest gym clothes. I was like, this shirt I bought in like Korea like 5 years ago, and it was like $10. And I'm just like wearing the frumpiest shirt, and then everyone's just wearing like fucking $100 Lululemon, you know, like sports bra and everything. And I'm just like, okay, I see how it is. Okay, next time I'll wear my slightly nicer gym wear.
Yeah. Hair tied back beautifully into a little bun.
Yes, and they all
makeup
look so
done.
good. And I'm telling you, those workouts, I don't know. In my opinion, again, I don't know. They were painful. I will tell you that.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they would make a big impact in the overall body shape.
Oh, god damn, Rose. And that's Rose's 2 cents about
That's
fitness.
my tea. That's the tea, guys.
God damn. So,
so Daniel really wants to talk about this, guys. So let's get to the story.
I've been dying to talk about this story for a number of reasons. Because first of all, I think because we kind of talked about this like the other day, but I think it just emphasizes and highlights so many things that we always talk about in this podcast. And I just feel like there's been so many pieces of this story that have like grown and things that have happened that have been like, I don't want to say ironic because I don't know if it is ironic, but like it's ironic. Okay, guys.
I think we should just get a shirt or get some merch and just put ironic, period.
Yeah.
You know?
It is ironic, guys.
That'll be our hipster merch. Ironic.
Yeah. It's just like this whole story on so many different levels has just been crazy. So obviously,
okay, lay it out for us, Daniel. Yeah. Lay it out for us.
Oh, god damn. I don't even know where to start. So basically, guys, as you guys have seen in the media, the news lately, there's been a frenzy about this GameStop, this company called GameStop, and their stock price, right? And what has happened is kind of in the last, basically in the month of January, like the stock started going up. And then really in January, this stock has taken off, right? Like it went from like $30 to like $400 in like 2 days. Like it's just insane. Like it's crazy. So part of the reason why this is so interesting is because this particular stock had been shorted by like a ton of hedge funds on Wall Street, right? So a bunch of hedge funds had said, okay, we think that the value of, and this was before all of this other stuff happened with GameStop. These hedge funds were like, you know what? Actually, we think that the stock is already overvalued for GameStop. We think it's going to be like the next Blockbuster. It's going to go out of business. So we're going to short the stock, which basically...
Explain what shorting the stock is for everyone, Daniel.
Okay. I'm not going to do the best job here, guys, because it's a little bit like, it's not that complicated, but basically it's like if Rose owns the stock and I want to short it, I can borrow that stock off Rose and sell it. And when I do that, I'm hoping I owe Rose still the stock. So what I'm hoping is that the price goes down. I can buy that stock back and give it back to Rose and make a profit.
So basically, guys, shorting the stock in layman's terms means that you think the stock price is going to go down. Essentially. Yes. So therefore, you're basically gambling to make money on the stock when the stock price goes down. So you're predicting that the stock price will go down. Continue.
Exactly. So yeah, that's your assumption. So a lot of these hedge funds, they've got together, and hedge funds historically have been very vocal about their positions. Now, the interesting thing with that is if it's like a senior hedge fund manager or a company or whatever else, and they are being very vocal about their positions, saying we're shorting this stock, blah, 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 blah. Like they actually are putting pressure on other investors who would look at them and say, oh, this hedge fund knows something, like they're quite smart. So we're also going to short the stock. So what happens is it's almost as if, so this is kind of like what the whole argument about hedge fund managers is, that they kind of manipulate the market in their own way by doing this, right? And also the hedge fund managers all get together and each do similar moves as well. So this hedge fund manager will be like, we're shorting GameStop. So other hedge fund managers are like, we're going to short GameStop. And what it does is it puts this huge pressure on this stock for it to go down. So ultimately they all win, the hedge fund managers. So
basically what happens, so basically what happens is that hedge fund managers will put it out there that like, oh, we're going to predict that this stock is going to go down. And then therefore that actually creates like because they said it, it makes it actually go down because everyone kind of like freaks out because they think that the hedge fund managers like know shit. But essentially they're kind of like rigging the system in a way in their favor.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what's been happening on one side. So we call the hedge fund managers like the institutional investors. They're like, so they've done that. So on the other side, there is everyone knows the forum Reddit, right? So Reddit's quite popular. People have like different forums and different like subreddits and all kinds of stuff where you can go and, talk to people about common topics, right? So there's been this one Reddit forum called Wallstreet Bets, right? And Wallstreet Bets is a bunch of individuals on there all talking about, stocks and, investments and all kinds of stuff. Now, a couple things have happened. So, and actually, the thing that really pisses me off is like the way that the media has been taking up this story as well. So what happened on Wallstreet Bets was a bunch of these kind of guys got together, guys and girls that are on Wallstreet Bets, and they said, look, something weird is going on here. First of all, they're nostalgic about GameStop because, a lot of these people grew up as kids going to the store, first of all. So there's that nostalgia around the store. Secondly, they were like, there has been some things happening with GameStop last year towards the end of the year. They like appointed a new CEO who's like really good at the new CEO, he worked for a online pet retailer or an e-commerce kind of company as well, and was going to start pushing GameStop to be more like an e-commerce platform, which is the direction they kind of need to go. So some positive things have been happening for this company. Anyway, these guys on Wallstreet Bets start talking, and they can see because the hedge funds have been very vocal. They noticed that the stock had been shorted 140% of what was the available stock out there. So literally, and I don't understand the full intricacies of it, but basically the hedge fund managers had bet so hard that this stock was going to go down, that they they over leveraged themselves, right, and borrowed 140% of the stock. So
more than it exists.
More than exists,
right.
Yeah, which in itself should be illegal. You should not be able to do that.
But then that shows that it's like obviously kind of a rigged sort of system, right?
Which we will get to in a minute.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the Wallstreet Bet guys get together and they're like, oh, you know what, guys? First of all, look at these hedge fund managers. They're in this position of shorting it 140%. Let's all get together and buy the stock. And obviously we know supply and demand. If a ton of people start coming in and buying a stock, what's going to happen to the price of that stock? It's going to go up. And then what happens, which gets really interesting, is as the price goes up, the people that have the short positions start to get scared, right? Because they're like, holy shit, this stock is going the wrong way. I'm losing so much money, because the losses are potentially infinite on the upside,
Right.
Because the stock can go up as much as, usually they don't go up so crazy. But anyway, so some of the short sellers are like, we have to get out of our position. So they start buying stock as well at the higher price to basically pay back the people that they borrowed the stock from, right? Which also drives the price up.
Right.
So it's like this like vicious cycle.
So what is it at now? Is it still going up, Daniel?
It's so it went up. It reached a peak of like 400 and something. It's come down now. I think today it was like 225.
Right.
So this is when things get really interesting.
Okay.
There's just oh god, guys.
This whole honestly, story.
Yeah. So on this like Reddit forum, these Wallstreet Bet guys, a lot of them were like talking about this whole trade and everything. And there was like more than three. There's a couple reasons why they wanted to do this. And a couple of the people were like, quite a lot of people were commenting about how these hedge fund managers are doing this kind of stuff, like, getting away with doing all of this stuff. And they really wanted to stick it to these hedge fund managers. So there was people that were like, you know what? Our parents, for example, got impacted with the financial crisis, lost their homes, all of this stuff happened, and nothing happened to the hedge fund managers and all of these other people.
They got bailed out, didn't they?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They got bailed out. So they're like, our tax-paying dollars paid to bail them out. So now we're going to screw them at their own game, and basically all got together and started doing this. And of course, the hedge fund managers freak out, right? Because they literally start losing billions on this stock.
Yeah.
Billions.
So basically, wait. So the what happened was, there was all these discussions on Reddit, right? And then some people, I guess this Reddit, this subreddit is huge. I don't really follow Reddit. Okay. So then I guess like some people decided to just all like come together and say like, let's all buy the stock. Let's all bring the price up to screw over the hedge fund managers. Okay.
Exactly. They said they need to pay. They need to like feel the pain.
Yeah.
And And it was so fun. Like, it's just crazy. So then all of a sudden, this is the kind of ironic thing is a lot of these like little guys, they call them the little guys, the retail investors, the
just the everyday Joe.
Exactly. They were using this app called Robinhood. So Robinhood is a new app that's come out. I don't know if it's that new, maybe the last couple of years, which is an online trading app, which allows people like me, like you, Rose, like everyday people to easily transact trades and go on to this app. And the whole idea of the Robinhood app is called not decentralization, but like basically the democratization of finance. Yes. Thank you.
Is that the word? Okay.
Yeah. Democratization of finance. So that's their whole like premise is like helping the little guy, right?
As in there's no like managers, there's no financial people in between you directly. Is that how it works on Robinhood?
Well, not exactly. I don't think what they've done is they've made it possible because the trades are free for the people that use the app on their thing. So it's making it more accessible for individuals, right? So that was the whole premise of it. Okay. And ironically, and this is where things are like all kicking off. So as this price is going crazy, media's picking this up and everybody's kicking off. All of a sudden, this is crazy. Like I don't know exactly all of the people that were starting to get involved, but like people were coming out of the woodwork, like regulators and obviously like other people that work in finance that are saying, "Oh my God, what is going on? This needs to be stopped." Yeah. There's, like basically being like, we need to like, increase regulation and stuff to prevent what's happening from happening. And so many people are getting pissed off because they're like, how funny is it that the hedge fund managers do almost exactly what these guys are doing and get away with it every single day. And now the tables are flipped and the hedge fund managers are actually losing shitloads of money and the little guys are making so much money that all of a sudden, all of these people are coming out of the woodworks being like, regulation needs to happen. And then a lot of people as well, which this kind of pissed me off. And I want your take on this.
Okay.
But like, they were like saying that these guys, that basically the reason why this is dangerous is it's causing a lot of volatility in the market and people can lose a lot of money, right? Meaning like the little retail, like the little guys like investing their money. But what they failed to recognize is a lot of the people that were buying this stock, not all of them were doing it for actual investment returns. A big majority of them that were on this subreddit thread, they first of all these people shouldn't discount their intelligence because they found a break in the system and they found a way to screw over these hedge fund managers. So clearly they're a lot more smart than people, a lot more intelligent than people are giving them credit for. But also a lot of them had said on the Reddit threads and were mentioning this and they said, actually, I don't care if my shares go to zero. I just want to fuck over these hedge funds. Literally, people were like, it was amazing. They were just like, I don't care. Like, look, I've only put in a couple hundred, like $300, $400, whatever it is. I don't care if this goes to zero. I want to see them suffer, these guys. Yeah. And all the news stations were like, there needs to be risk warnings. Like, these people don't understand what they're doing. Like,
oh my God. Yeah, that's very condescending.
It was crazy. And so many like CNBC.
Of
and
course.
So many things. You have these people coming out of the woodwork, but it's really good because there's also been a lot of pushback from other people when people have come in and been like, oh, there needs to be increased regulation. And people have been like, yes, we agree with you. There does need to be increased regulation. This shouldn't have happened. Exactly. In general. They said, first of all, the one fact that seems to be ignored quite often is why in the first place were the hedge funds shorting the stock 140% to begin with. That should have never happened.
And on what basis were they shorting the stock to begin with? Like, do they just decide, okay, this company's like not doing that well, so therefore let's all team up and let's all short it and let's all talk about it so that the stock plummets? That's fucked up.
I know. The ironic thing though, so the ironic thing which they keep kind of like leaning on and what they've been talking about and why they're saying about Gamestop, like this stock is overvalued and whatever else. They said, oh, you have to think about the fundamentals of investing. And that's what their argument. They're saying, oh, the hedge funds, they analyze these companies and they see which ones are, maybe not going to do well. And then they short the stock. That process, there's nothing wrong with. It's the aggressive way at which they're shorting the stock to basically fulfill their own prophecy that this price is going to go down. Right. And they do this time and time again. Because
like, shouldn't they not be allowed, for example, like I get it that we do need some, people that know, we need people that understand finance to talk about finance and give us maybe some guidance, right? So obviously people do look for information about certain stocks, if it's a good idea to invest or not. But at the same time, if they have a stake in the game, like how do I say it? If a dog in the fight,
or skin in the game.
Yeah, skin in the game. And what they say can impact that stock price, that is a conflict of interest if I ever saw one.
It's crazy. Like basically one kind of positive thing that's come out of all of this. But again, I'm not that hopeful that anything's going to change. We all saw what happened with the financial market crash.
Yeah.
Like the fact that these hedge fund managers are still so leveraged and like still so in these super risky positions, it just kind of reinforces to me that they've learned nothing from the financial crash, and that there hasn't been any kind of regulation in place. And like the whole irony of this whole situation is that it's like, we know, we always talk about like how companies, when they're doing well, they don't want to pay taxes, and then what they want corporate handouts. It's almost like these guys, the hedge fund managers, and everyone that, or not everyone, but like a lot of people that work in finance are okay when the rich people are winning.
Exactly.
As soon as that's flipped, they freak out.
They don't want any regulations when they're winning. Exactly. They don't want any government help when they're winning.
Exactly. And everyone's like, oh, well, the thing is this GameStop price doesn't, the fundamentals aren't there. Like they haven't looked at the company's revenue and growth prospects and all this stuff.
It doesn't matter. It's a free market. Isn't the whole point that it's a free market? That's the whole point of the stock market. It really, that's why I always say the stock market is not reality. It's not based on like what's actually happening. Like, I mean, look at the stock market during COVID. Okay, it was doing pretty fucking well during COVID when everybody else was suffering. So it has nothing to do with reality.
And a lot of it is on speculation and what public interest
mostly
is.
Mostly on speculation.
I know, it's crazy. And like the interesting thing too, which came up a lot, which I want to address as well, is a lot of people were like, oh, when these hedge funds were losing billions, they were saying it gets better though, the roast. There's another piece of the story which I haven't even delved into
there's
yet,
more.
Which is so ironic.
Honestly, I'm going to get you a shirt that says irony.
Yeah, I think I need one. But a lot of people were like, again, they were like, oh, these hedge funds are losing out. And yes, hedge funds are, you need a certain amount of assets. Like typically to invest in a hedge fund as an individual, you need at least like $1 million or something crazy. But also hedge funds do manage like, pension funds and other things. And they said, think about it. Like if the hedge funds are losing, so are some of these people in pension funds and whatever else. And that might be true and might be accurate. But then my question again would be, okay, that's true. They're losing out and that's not great. But at the same time, when was it okay for them to take such a risk with people's like with that position? Because again,
is that what happened during the financial crisis of 2008?
Well,
is
it's
that
a different
part of it?
Yeah. So the whole issue, and again, I don't know, I don't fully, because it gets so complicated and I don't fully understand it either. But I think that part of the reason because the financial crisis was a little bit different than this, but part of the reason why so many of these big like banks and hedge fund managers and all of these people that were working in this industry, had a lot of trouble is because they were leveraged. So like,
okay, explain what leveraged means.
So for example, okay, let's say I want to invest, okay? And I think to myself, stock in Apple is going to go up, right? So I put in $10 and it goes up to $20. Great, I've made $10. But you know what's even better? Instead of just investing $10, why don't I borrow some money, put it into... So the whole idea of being leveraged is it's not actually...
Your money.
That's why they... Exactly. So that's why when these like big corporations, when they said that they needed bailouts and were failing, it's because they'd over leveraged themselves to the point where if the trade went the wrong way, they weren't able to cover it.
So then everything will crash.
Exactly. And part of the thing of the financial crisis was that saying like, they started saying, okay, like for example, banks, because that was a big culprit in that as well. Banks need to have a certain reserve ratio. So they are allowed to lend out money, but only a certain amount of, whatever their assets are. But I feel like with hedge fund managers, it seems like they're still over leveraging themselves.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like one of the big players in this whole incident, they had to get like money from one of their, I guess, corporate buddies or whatever injection. They had to have like a $3 billion injection
after the GameStop situation.
Yeah. After the GameStop. So these guys the best thing is though, these guys on Reddit are going mad, right? They're like, holy shit. Like we just caused Wall Street to lose like $20
That's
billion.
insane. Can you imagine being like, I mean, who are these people? It's probably just like some random dude that's just like unemployed, just sitting, dicking around on Reddit. And then they're just like, holy fuck, we literally just caused a fucking Wall Street crash.
It's crazy. So
respect,
so there's that piece,
man.
Right?
Respect.
I know, it's crazy. On top of all of this, this story gets even better. So as this all is happening, Robinhood trading app,
oh right,
all of a sudden stops or blocks blocks buying of select stocks,
including
GameStop, a couple of the others, Nokia. There's a bunch of other ones.
Oh, there's other ones as well.
Up. Yeah, GameStop is like the main one because everyone like really flooded to GameStop. But like there's others that are in there as well. I think the movie theater one, something else. Anyway, and now like there's huge speculation about GameStop, Robinhood, where they're saying Robinhood is working with the hedge fund manager because the hedge fund manager was losing too much money, and they said you need to stop letting people trade. And Robinhood basically said, look, you own GameStop, bros. You can sell it on our platform, but you can't buy it. So they blocked people from buying the stock for like a period of time.
Right. But we discussed this briefly off air, right? And then remember our friend said like there might be another reason why?
Yeah. So there is. So the
just to give benefit of a doubt, maybe.
Exactly. We're going to give benefit of the doubt, guys, because we don't know 100% sure what happened.
Yeah.
It looks hella suspicious.
I mean, yeah.
And also, people were saying on some of the like Reddit forums and also like on YouTube and stuff, people were saying like part of Robinhood's business model is actually the reason they don't charge people for trades is because they actually sell the data of the people that are trading to the hedge fund managers and other people to see what the retail investors are doing in the market. So there's some weird stuff going on there, but they said that like part of like the issue with like buying and selling stock is like sometimes it can take up to 2 days for a trade to settle, right? Like you put an offer and it's not instantaneous, I guess. And you have this concept of like a clearinghouse, and the clearinghouse has to have enough funds to be able to cover like that 2-day gap. And if a stock gets like really volatile, you need to have an injection of capital basically to make sure that you and Robinhood, that's their argument as to why they had to pause it, because they did let it open again after like a couple days.
Right.
But obviously, if you don't let people buy the stock that are on this app, it's going to impact the price, and the price did fall.
Right.
So it's like, and people were saying when the price fell, a lot of the hedge funds that were in this position, they took smaller losses but covered their loss at that time because the price dropped. So they're like, okay, it's only 100 now and not 400. I'm getting out. I'm going to just cut my losses at $100 a share.
It wouldn't surprise me if Robinhood had, hedge fund managers that were maybe investors or something in, that wouldn't surprise me.
It's just the whole fact that we're even the whole fact that we're even talking about this story and all of this has caused such an uproar. Like literally,
it's insane.
It is insane. People are losing their shit on this.
You're losing your shit.
I'm losing my shit. I kind of love it because it is kind of this whole like David versus Goliath and all this other stuff. But like, it's also been such an eye-opener how the media's picked this up.
Right.
And really, like, some people are on the side of these retail investors, but other people are like, really pushing this like regulation and everything else. And it's so ironic that like these companies or these people are coming up saying like, oh, these poor investors, we need to protect these retail investors because they don't know what they're doing. This stock is really volatile. But at the same time,
come on. They're saying we need to protect the retail investors. Yeah, sure.
But this just shows you how big the corruption goes. And there was another story, and again, guys, I'm not 100% sure on the accuracy on this one, but apparently when Robinhood did that and blocked trading, people were like in uproar, obviously, like super pissed. And so people were going on Google or like App Store or whatever and giving them 1-star ratings. And then apparently Google deleted a bunch of the 1-star ratings.
No! Are you serious? Is that confirmed?
I don't know. It wasn't 100% confirmed, but like people were like speculating that this happened, like that they were deleting ratings as people were like,
what is the rating right now?
I have no idea.
Oh my God.
I don't know what the app's
Oh my
rated.
God. What is going on?
I know. And it's just so funny though. Like it's the fact, like the best part is the part of the story that I loved that really just did bring a smile to my face was the fact that this group of guys on Reddit guys and girls got together and literally found a flaw in the system that's generally because we always talk about this, but like the system is corrupt in many ways, and it's made for certain people to be the winners and certain people to be the losers, right? And generally the winners are the mega wealthy and those people that are in that circle of, you know, old boys club or whatever it is. And I just love that this group of like people on a Reddit forum got together.
These people?
I know, and we're like, "Fuck you!" And then let's bring this. And they could see that these hedge funds were like in such a precarious position if their bet didn't happen. Yeah. That's why this was like the perfect storm.
They knew that they could fuck them over completely, like royally.
Exactly. Yeah. Because again, because so many people were shorted on the stock, if they drove the price up, it's going to force some people that are shorted to also buy stock to cover their position, which drives the price up more.
God,
like
this is so crazy.
I know, it's been crazy. I just the thing that it makes me happy, the story. The thing that makes me sad is like, I just feel like nothing's going to happen.
I don't think anything's going to happen. I don't think it's going to actually cause, we can take a few good things out of this. Number one, I think a lot of people, because of this story and how big it blew up, a lot of people are learning a little bit about the stock market, because let's face it.
And finance.
Like even like you and I, we did business. You did finance as a degree. Did you not?
Yeah.
So you know a little bit more than I do. I took finance. I did very well in finance. I don't know shit about the stock market because I just have like, until like last year, I was like, I had no interest in investing. I didn't know anything about investing. So yeah, for me, it's interesting to like hear these things because I'm learning, like, again, I'm like relearning what it is to short a stock, like all that shit. So I think in one way it's good because we're learning a little bit. And also second, it's good that we're learning that the stock market has very little to do with reality, if any at all. Like the fact that it can just go up and down like this, just based on how much people buy, because like we discussed, like the concept that people can just like overbuy the stocks and then it'll just drive up the stock price. That shows that stock price has really nothing to do with the reality of the situation, because the company could be on the verge of, you know, shutting down. You have no customers, but then if something like, for example, if GameStop, if it was on the verge of shutting down, but then all of a sudden the stock price just rises because of this whole crazy situation,
which is kind of like what's happening.
Exactly. So you can tell it's just a game. It's just a game. It's just gambling.
And exactly. This is it. They're saying like so many people are like, look, it's just emphasizing, first of all, the problems with the system and how it's set up. Secondly, the fact that a lot of it is a game, because and it was interesting to see so many people come on to all of these different news programs and everything and be like, look, people that are investing in these retail investors need to stop because, you know, they're going to get burned. The stock is overvalued. There's no fundamentals of what you're doing in investing.
Right.
You know, because stocks are supposed to be meant to be a reflection of the company and the value of that company, right? But this showcases perfectly, exactly. This showcases perfectly that this is not necessarily the case.
Yeah.
Like there's, you know, a lot of it is built into speculation as to what you think the company's going to do, or, you know, and it shows that like, you know, some news could be released and a bunch of people could think, oh my God, this stock is going to be amazing. Tons of people flood into it. And guess what? The price goes up.
Exactly.
So
and it's also and also didn't the government didn't something happen when the COVID situation started happening and the stock market like plummeted, right? I'm pretty sure that the government like injected a shit ton of money.
Capital. Yeah. I don't know. It just I think there are some good things to take from this story. Like you said, like, you know, there's certain things, like it is an eye opener to a lot of people. You're right. People are talking about finance that never talked about finance before. You know, people are learning about it. People are also seeing like the corruption that's going on in the finance world, how bad it is.
What is a hedge fund, Daniel? Can you enlighten us?
Oh, God damn. Well, basically a hedge fund is like, it's a fund of like basically you like money that invests in more kind of like, they call them like alternative investments, but like generally more risky investments.
Oh,
I see. An example of that is a short sell, right? Like the short sell would be an example. And part of the reason why the justification is for hedge fund managers to invest in these more, they call them sophisticated products and stuff, is because they say that hedge fund managers are, you know, they are, you know, understand the finance world and they're willing to, you know, better equipped to take those risks. I would argue that's not the case.
Apparently not.
No. And I would argue like and also it's funny because a lot of people are beating up hedge fund managers right now, like just giving them.
Oh my God. I would hate to be a hedge fund manager right now.
I know. They're like taking them to the laundromat right now.
Oh God.
And, one of the guys on this one show that I was watching, he was just like, look, you know, like ultimately the whole idea of stocks and like growing like your money through investments is that you're actually like helping companies grow, right? The whole idea of like the principle behind stocks is like, if I had my own company and I needed to raise capital to grow my company, I would offer equity, so people that ownership into my company, by buying those shares. And in turn, I use that money for productive things to grow my company, to, you know, this is the fundamentals of like, exactly. This is the theory, right?
But in practice,
exactly. And it's funny because people are like, these hedge fund managers are just leeches that are like driving company valuations to the ground half the time and like really manipulating the markets. And, you know, basically are throwing their toys out of the pram because they're not winning for once, you know?
Shit.
I know. It's just, it's been such a good, I honestly feel like we needed this story in 2021 because it's been like the little guy needed a win. Exactly. And it just makes me like, it honestly, when I saw this story, it just like made me smile so much. Right. And the thing that does suck, and again, guys, what these people are doing is very risky investing, like to try to get on this like train of, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, there are going to be some people that do lose money, of course. But the fact that these hedge fund managers have just been bleeding money because a couple guys got together, and girls got together on Reddit and fucked them over.
And then, okay, like, wait, what happens? So those hedge fund managers, they're responsible for other people's money, right?
Yeah.
So then what happens to that? But I'm assuming that the people that are investing with hedge fund managers are very rich, wealthy people, correct?
This is the whole argument. Yeah. So part of the thing is, if me or you wanted to put our money into a hedge fund, there are hedge funds that cater to like smaller investments, but generally even the ones that are smaller investments, they're like more than we could afford. Do you know what I mean? Like it's hard to get into hedge funds. Generally they usually have like I heard like $1 million threshold just to enter into them. So it is people that have a lot of money that, you know, generally can afford to lose that money. And the funny thing is,
let the little guy win.
Exactly. And the whole argument again was about, oh, well, these are people's pensions and blah, 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 blah.
Fuck that bullshit.
I know. I'm like, where were you in 2008 when all of these people lost their pensions? All of these, and people, the beauty of this too is it's kind of like part of this GameStop thing that's happened is also a movement in itself of people that are pissed off, angry about what's happened and the state of the market and the fact that a lot of them have lost their job during the COVID, done all of this, you know, all this stuff. And then they've looked and they've seen these hedge fund managers and these billionaires earn more money during this time.
Yep.
While everyone else is losing out. And they're like, okay, I don't stand for this anymore. Like, what the fuck? Like, what can we do? So, oh my God. So beautiful.
Oh my, seriously. This, like, it's insane. It's actually insane. Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I hope it changes something. I mean, I don't know.
I know. I hope that like this does bring more light. But again, like I just feel like if the financial markets crashing in 2008 didn't change anything, then I just don't see how this is going to change anything.
I mean, if it does one thing, again, it highlights the kind of corruption and all of the fuck-uppery, you know, to the everyday people, because again, people are not paying attention to the stock market. They just think, oh, hedge fund manager, he's just some guy that knows a lot about finance. They don't think like, oh, they're fucking us over. They're just like doing this little game just to like make money.
Exactly. It's crazy. It like, oh
my God, seriously.
Guys, I suggest watch some YouTube videos on it. There are some beautiful stories out there. And I'm living for this story right now.
Like, honestly, it's always what we talk about, but it's just the idea that like, as soon as it goes against you, all of a sudden you want all kinds of regulation. So this whole concept of like, you know, free market capitalism, like people don't want it unless it benefits them. They only want free market capitalism if it benefits them.
Yeah, that's why I thought this story was so perfect for us, because we do talk about this so much. And again, I want to put my statement out there, guys, that like, I don't think there's anything wrong with short selling if you think a company's value is going to go down. That's not the issue here. Again, the issue is the corruption that's happening, the collusion, the manipulation, the over leverage. That's like a key thing, a key concept, because in 2008, that's why a lot of these banks and a lot of these things failed. Wasn't necessarily because of the investments that they were doing. That was part of it. But a huge part of it is the amount of money that they leveraged that they couldn't pay back if everything went to hell in a handbasket. And like, they should not be allowed to do that. If I, as a person, can't really over leverage myself,
right.
I mean, I probably could in some ways, but like, why are these institutions allowed to do that to such a level that can like collapse financial markets?
Oh,
like,
God. It's because money is like, again, it's just like a number on a screen now, and people can just make shit up, apparently.
It's just this whole thing has just like blown my mind.
Yeah.
And I do think I think that this GameStop was the perfect storm because there was so many different factors at play here to make this a successful play on the part of Wall Street Bets. But I do think also it's kind of a wake-up call in some regards for the hedge fund managers who are now going to have to like really, be more... I mean, they're probably going to be more like strategic now and try to do their manipulation behind closed doors, which, they do anyway. And
oh, God. I wonder what's going to happen.
I hope something does happen, but again, let's just see how this plays out. And another thing I was going to say is how ironic. Oh, why do I keep using that word?
You just love that word, Daniel.
I do really love it. But no, I was going to say how like funny is it that the app that people were using to bring down Wall Street basically was called Robinhood, and how bad PR Robinhood must be getting now that they've basically stopped the little guy from trading. For a period of time.
Right. Because it was made for the little guy.
Exactly.
Right.
This is the ironic thing. And people are like, actually, I think the Securities Exchange Commission in the U.S. is going to be doing an investigation into Robinhood to see if there was. Yeah.
The plot thickens.
I know. It's just crazy. And obviously they've lost the faith of a lot of people by doing that. Yeah. So regardless if it was a move that they needed to cover or whatever it was, like they should have been transparent and just been vocal about it. And then people might have like believed them. But the fact that like they just didn't really say much. And then later came out to say, And it was funny because there was a bunch of interviews too with the CEO of Robinhood. And he was like, we don't have a liquidity problem. Like it was fine, like blah, blah. And then they're like, well, why did you shut it down? Then if you had
he said that?
No cash. Yeah. And then I think he took it back in another interview. I know.
Then for a fact that
there's some shady shit going on.
There's some shady shit going on. Now I want to learn more about the financial crash of 2008.
If you want to really find it, well, not really find out, but one good way to think of it or like look at it is, have you seen the movie called The Big Short?
Yes, I've seen it. Yeah. I watched it a while ago, but I need to maybe I'll rewatch it now that I understand a little more,
Exactly. Like open it up, like, look at it. And because the thing is too is some of these financial products and stuff that even the hedge funds and people are investing in, I think some of them don't even fully understand.
This is what I'm saying. I'm like, do most people even understand this shit? Like, it's just insane. Like this, the whole, like, I feel like no matter how much I study it, no matter how much I learn about it, I'm still not going to fully understand the concept of a stock market.
Yeah. It's because it's so complicated. Like it gets so complex, and like the different moves that you can do in this. Like I literally like.
How did people do this without computers? Is my question. Remember, like back in the day when they didn't have like everything was like on the phone. Like you had to like call into the stock market and be like, I would like to bet on like TGC, and then it's just like, oh my God, how does that even happen?
Well, exactly, and how would that? Yeah, it's just like it's crazy concept to think about.
But that's even more so why it was very much just tied to the elite for a very long time. And I do think it is shifting in some way, I guess, because now like everyday people, I mean, not everybody, there's still like, I think still great majority of the population are not participating in the stock market at all. Yeah. But it is becoming a little bit more of like talked about thing amongst not so super wealthy elites. Yeah. And it's interesting.
It's interesting. Well, I saw a stat somewhere, and I don't quote me on this, guys.
Don't quote Daniel on anything, guys.
And exactly. I'm like, but I was reading or I saw somewhere that it was still like, this is a good positive shift to get people more interested in stocks and everything. But like at the end of the day in the share market, I think that like 85% of shares and stocks and all that kind of stuff that's going on is held by the 1%. Yeah.
I know. That's crazy. That's why it's not reflective of everyday people. So you can't look at a stock market and think, oh, the economy is doing so well, because it's like not. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just not.
Exactly. And I think that like one thing that this has proven again is the kind of, these people can argue that the price of stocks are based on fundamentals of companies and blah, 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 blah. But there is so much speculation and other things at play here.
Okay. It's just BS. Yeah. Like, for example, like when, like we talked about when a company decides to go public and they release their like IPO or whatever, and and then if there's like some excitement about the company and people think it's going to do well, it all of a sudden just inflates that price. Like exactly. DoorDash, for example, which I think went public a few weeks ago. And fucking DoorDash, like a lot of people were just like, this should not be this price. Like, I don't know what happened to the price, but like, it's just a game. Like, it's just a game. Like, it's like it's literal gambling. Like, I can't.
Exactly.
So it's just like,
and it's funny. And so many people are like, oh, the market, it corrects itself and blah, blah, blah,
That's
blah, blah.
Literal bullshit.
I know. And then it's so funny to see kind of the uproar that these Reddit guys have caused in the financial community and how these people are like screaming out for like, this needs to be investigated and blah, 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 blah. It's just so funny to see this all play out. Like literally guys, like, I'm loving it.
What happens if a stock is... Again, like let's take DoorDash, for example. So they went public and then a bunch of people bought their stocks and was like, okay, DoorDash, woohoo. The price went up. They raised a shit ton of money. And then it's just out there to be gambled on, right?
Yeah.
So it has very little to do with the actual, like, there's, I'm sure a certain amount of money that the company will use to, do their services or whatever.
It's based on like, the thing is the thing with shares and everything else is the company can like issue more shares later on if they want.
Like if they need more money.
Exactly. Or they could buy back shares if they want to take back some ownership. Like there's a lot of different things that
oh my
they
God,
can
it's so
do
complicated.
I know it gets so confusing.
This is why when I was learning it, I was like, this is bullshit. I don't want to learn this shit.
Yeah. And anyway, guys, like also as a caveat here, like we're not offering any kind of advice or doing anything like that. We're just saying
do not ever take our financial advice.
Exactly. We're just talking about our thoughts on this subject and, the kind of concept of finance, the concept, like I get the concept of shares and stock and everything else. I just think, again, in theory, it sounds great, but in practice, it's just, a game for the elites to make more and more money.
Yeah.
Like,
and then if you know more people, then you can hire people to do the research for you. And then you can, and even if you do it in the right way, it's still like not fair because obviously more money makes more money, right? Because if you're rich, I could hire a hedge fund manager and they can go and do all the research for me. And all I have to do is dump a bunch of money and then they're just going to grow it.
Exactly. And then these hedge fund managers are going to over leverage to get higher because the part of the reason why these companies over leverage is, like with investments, the whole concept of risk and return, right? The more risky an investment is, the higher potential for return. And like if you're leveraging your position, you're in turn making it more risky.
And isn't one of the principles of investing is to not put all your eggs in one basket? And have a diversified portfolio.
And I know that the hedge fund managers they do have a few things, but like how fucked up is it that their position in one company, this just shows you how aggressive their position was. Their position was so aggressive that they could lose 20, 30, however many $1 billion they lost because of this one position. It just shows you like the recklessness of these like hedge funds, and like, again, and so many people were like, if they had shorted the stock normally, like, still tried to like take advantage of the fact that they think that it's going down, like this wouldn't have played out the way that it had.
Right.
But it's because they're greedy. They want to keep making more and more money.
There you go.
So
you hit the nail on the head. They're greedy as fuck.
Exactly. That's what happened with the housing crisis. These people were greedy as fuck and they overextended, over leveraged, over like positioned themselves into these markets which they believed, okay, this is going to perform in one way, right? Like we know what is going to happen. It's going to do this. And because have so much at stake there that if it even goes slightly the other way, they could lose so much money.
Right.
Like
that's why they say that there's like a thing that happens in like the financial world where basically when it seems like really, really good, like the stock market is like super booming, usually that's followed by like a crash. Apparently like the Great Depression, for example, I think before the Great Depression, it was like, ooh, everyone's Ryan's doing fantastic. Woohoo. And all of a sudden, because we don't see everything that's happening. So like the regular people are not going to see everything that's happening. And if people are like, and that's what happened with 2008 as well, I think, because nobody thought this was going to happen. And all of a sudden it was like, whoa, fucking crash. Yeah. Oh God.
Well, if you watch, I mean, if you remember in The Big Short, some people did know.
Yeah, a few people did. And did they make a bunch of money?
Yeah. Yeah, they did. They shorted it. That's why it's called The Big Short, because they were shorting they thought that these, instead of I can't remember exactly how it worked, but it was like collateralized loans or something. It was like mortgages.
Yeah. The mortgage thing was like a big thing. Yeah.
And they were betting. These guys were like, look, this is the housing market in the US is fucked. They're giving mortgages to everyone. They're selling these mortgages to like other investors.
And there's no money.
As like, exactly. And like eventually these people are going to default on these mortgages and it's going to crash everything. Right. And that's why they like shorted the like, I don't know exactly the whole, because it gets something really complicated, guys. Yeah. So watch The Big Short. Yeah. It explains it much better than I do.
This week, actually. I need to refresh my memory.
I might watch it tonight. Oh, I'm in a mood for it. You know, God damn.
I hope some people on the Reddit thread made a shit ton of money. I hope so.
Oh, they did.
Did they?
They did. Yeah. And the thing is too, that like a lot of people were posting is some people were getting out like earlier and they were saying like, again, it was everyday people being like, this is fantastic. I just was able to pay off my student loan.
Oh, see, that's so nice.
Exactly. Someone was like, I was able to pay for my mom's like hospital visit or medication or whatever it was from these like windfall wins. So it just kind of like emphasized that story of this kind of like David versus the Goliath. These people, and they actually, they fucked over Wall Street in this particular instance. Now, is this going to continue? The GameStop is still really, really high. Who knows what's going to happen? But hedge funds have lost a shitload of money.
Well, now I think that it could potentially lead to them having to be more careful to some degree.
Yeah.
Because obviously they realize, oh shit, maybe we can't fuck over the little guy that much anymore.
Exactly. And maybe people are starting to call us out on our shit and realizing what we're doing a little bit.
Exactly.
So,
God damn.
Time will tell, guys. This is an exciting story. A great way to start 2021, I think, personally.
By fucking over the financial market.
Yeah. I mean, and again, nothing wrong with the financial market. It's just the way that these people are playing the game.
And it's just bullshit. Like the whole thing is bullshit. We all know. I mean, I feel like we need to know it's bullshit. Like, for example, like we always talk about, it has nothing to do with how much work you're doing. I mean, again, of course, maybe if you got to you became rich at a certain point, you may have worked hard. There's no denying that. But to say, pretend that these millionaires and billionaires are not rich just because they are literally just pumping all their money into the stock market, which works in their favor, and they're avoiding taxes and all that shit, that's not what I call working hard. So that's partially why there are such disparities in this world.
Exactly. Well, and I think that I seem to remember in that documentary called Capital that we both watched, one of the things that they said, again, when it comes down to working, yes, don't get me wrong, like you're right. Somebody can work hard and, you know, that whole American dream and become super successful. It does happen to some people, not that many, because people can work hard their whole lives and never get there. One of the big concepts of, I remember Capital, I think it was Capital, when they said, actually, it's not working hard that's going to make you become rich. It's owning assets. Yeah. Right? So the more assets that you own, the less work that you technically have to do, because those assets will make money in themselves.
So it almost makes you more lazy.
Exactly. So like think about like any kind of asset, like shares in a company, depending on how the company's doing, or property is another really good one.
Yeah.
If you happen to own a shitload of properties, you know, yes, you have to manage those properties and whatever else, or you could hire someone to manage them for you. And guess what? You're going to make more money than me working a full-time job.
Right.
Even if you're only working 10 hours a week because you have somebody working for you, I'm working full-time.
Right.
And you're making more than me because you own assets.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's
assets
crazy.
Are what makes money.
Yeah, which is so true. So like everything we've been told about like success and money and, you know, you got to work hard, all this shit. I mean, again, it works to a certain point. Yeah. We all got to make our minimum wage at some point. Well, not all of us, but works to a certain point. But then after that, it's like once you have a lot of money, and also if you're born into a rich family,
this is part of it, right? So if you're born and your family transfers you those assets, then again, you're going to start reaping the benefit of that. And I think the whole like working hard, I'm not just diminishing like people that work hard.
Of course, we need to work hard.
Exactly. But I think that generally, and I would say like 90% of the time, if you work really, really hard, you can maybe get yourself a little bit higher in the middle class kind of area, right?
Yeah.
But to really make that leap to that kind of top 1%, that kind of jump doesn't happen that often.
No, it doesn't. I think they've done some studies actually that, especially in the States, I think back in the day, it was the whole concept of the American dream was a lot more feasible. Maybe back in the 50s or I don't know exactly the time frame, but because of this like kind of this huge gap happening between the rich and the poor, and of course the stock market being rigged and all this shit. So now it's like almost impossible to like if you're born poor, you're gonna probably die poor for most people, which is like very sad.
Exactly. Or if you work hard, you're born poor, you work hard, maybe you can become a little bit kind of middle class.
Yeah.
Climb up a little bit up that little ladder, but you're never going to be into that top 1%.
That's so sad, isn't it?
It is really sad. And the game is, and as you can see, I think this story, guys, is literally a perfect example of how the game is rigged. And it's not rigged in our favor. And the fact that all these news channels have jumped on it, you can see like Robinhood app shutting trading down for a bit. It seemed like Google at some point was involved, like removing reviews for Robinhood app. Like there's just so many culprits in the game, and these hedge fund managers, they have buddies in high places, and again, no call out for regulation or anything when they're winning. But now the interesting thing is the second it flipped, and look at how interesting this is. The second this happened, look what's happened in the media.
Yeah,
uproar.
Yeah, everyone's like, "Oh my god, we need regulation! Oh my god."
Yeah. And like, honestly, like guys, like do your own research, watch some of these like YouTube news channels and everything else as to what's going on. But like question yourself, not like, and ask this yourself, because it's one thing that did really piss me off with a lot of these people that were talking about this story. So many of them that call out for regulation about market manipulation, they do mention hedge fund managers as well and say that maybe they should be involved as well, which they should. But so few of them talk about the fact of how leveraged these hedge funds were, up to like 140% of the stock. Like that in itself, I think is technically illegal and should not be allowed to happen. So there should be more talk about that and why that was allowed to happen in the first place, right? So
God, this should be crazy, man. This should be crazy. Well, so I guess so basically finance people are evil. No, just kidding. I was gonna say, should we be dating finance guys, Daniel, or no?
Damn, no, I don't know.
Hedge fund managers?
No, we don't want to taint everyone with that brush, because there's definitely some great people that work in that industry, but there's a lot of questionable behavior and questionable ethics that happen in these kind of things that are going on. And this just shows, like, this whole story is just incredible. So it's very interesting.
Are you gonna go watch The Big Short, Daniel?
I might. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's getting kind of late though, so it's a bit late to watch a movie at this time,
Oh, Daniel, I mean, we ain't got too many plans, so.
That's true. I have to be up for work tomorrow, though.
It's Groundhog Day again tomorrow, so it's fine.
Oh God, I know. Oh, anyway.
All right. Well, that was very fun.
Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed that story, and if you haven't been following, again, I think you guys just for your own viewing pleasure, honestly, watch some of these news stories and stuff. Like, it's so good about GameStop and what's happened.
And leave us your comments, guys. Leave us your comments if you're watching on YouTube. Let us know what you think of this whole situation. I hope you enjoyed my little rant about fitness influencers. Check us out on Patreon, guys. Our Patreon family is growing. What in the mother? $3 a month. That's our lowest tier, and you can get an extra bonus episode every single month. For the one in January, we did our love languages.
We talked all about our love languages.
We did the love languages test. So if you want to know what me and Daniel's love languages are, if you want to speak our love language, go over to our Patreon. Join us on Patreon. Join the Patreon family. It's only $3 a month to join, guys. Come join us. Anyways, sorry this episode's so long, but hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah, hopefully you guys got some insight, and I hope you guys are also following the story as well, enjoying it, and seeing. Let's see how this plays out. And yeah, if you're not already, follow us on whatever podcasting platform that you're watching or listening on. Sorry, and if you are watching us on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. Yeah. And leave a comment if you want to, if you like this, want to talk more to us, tell us some things, goddamn. We be here for years.
Tell us some ironic things, guys. Tell us some ironic things. Love you guys so much. See you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Next week.
Bye.
Bye.